everyone, welcome back to my channel, Adventures with Amirah. What are you guys watching right now? That's what we're going to talk about today. I know all of us are pretty much on lockdown. There are some shows that I'm still discovering every day when I go onto a new platform. I'm like, wow, this is a cool show. We discovered a new one this weekend. And these are going to be shows we talk about for kids and for adults. There's some that are family oriented and some not so much. But let's get into it. First, let's talk about kids shows. So one of our favorite kids shows that I feel like is really good is on the Disney Plus platform, and it's the Disney Imagineers. The Imagineering shows are all about how Disney World and Disneyland were started, how the Disney Cruise was created, the rides. I mean, it's just amazing. Also, for a little bit older kids, because there is violence, but we watched The Mandalorian. We actually bought Disney Plus as one of the gifts for our kids right after Christmas so that we could watch Mandalorian with them because we'd heard so much about it. And they really enjoyed it. So if you guys are Star Wars fans, you definitely should check out The Mandalorian. It's not like regular TV where you have to wait each week. For so many of these platforms now, they release a whole series at once, which is really unique. I didn't even realize Netflix did that until recently. I was like, oh, you can watch everything back to back. So those are the two that I would definitely recommend on Disney Plus. And of course they have tons of movies that are coming out and everything like that. So I feel like it's been a good investment for our family and for our kids. When we went on to Disney Plus, they also had an option to get Apple TV because we bought a new Apple TV box, and something with Disney Plus and Apple TV was in partnership to where we got so many months of Apple TV for free. And so the show that I would recommend on Apple TV that we're watching is called All for Mankind, and it's all about the space race and what would have happened if we didn't make it to the moon first. And in the show, it's a very realistic show, and it's all about the Russians making it to the moon first and just how we're constantly scrambling to keep up. And then they got the first woman on the moon. And so then we're trying to get our own team of women astronauts to the moon. It's very interesting. And we're a space family, so we love anything space related. And that show has been really good. There are some a little bit inappropriate parts because they do show drinking. There is some, I think, well, back then everybody smoked. So if you want to discuss that with your kids before you watch, and there's a few little parts you might maybe fast forward through. That's what we do. We just kind of skip over some parts if we're watching with our kids if it seems like it's a little bit inappropriate or something like that. But that show overall is so inspiring for girls. So we really like that show. And on Netflix this past weekend, we found a new show called Letter for the King, and it's very similar to something like Lord of the Rings or one of those type of fantasy movies. Is actually filmed in New Zealand where Lord of the Rings was filmed. And if you like fantasy type shows, that really is good because it's like historical, and it's this group of kids that are trying to fight off evil. And I really enjoyed it. The kids liked it. They were like, oh, what is this or whatever. And then we started watching it and we couldn't stop. We finished the whole series in one day. I think there were only 6 episodes on there, but it was really good. Another one that we started watching on Netflix was called Lock and Key. And it seemed a little creepy at first, but it ended up being such an interesting show. I was surprised. And come to find out, it was actually written by Stephen King's son. I didn't realize that until I saw a cameo. I thought it was Stephen King in the show, and I was like, oh my gosh, is this a Stephen King show? There's Stephen King. Well, it's his son, but he looks so much like his dad that I thought that was Stephen King himself. But no, it's a series that apparently he wrote, and it was really, really good. It's very interesting. Like, there's all these keys in this house that they move into, and there's like this demon that lives there they're trying to keep trapped, and there's these keys that you can put into like different doors and different things happen, or there's actually keys you can put into somebody and it lets you see inside your own mind and stuff. It's very interesting, a little bit different. So you might want to check out what it's about before you watch that one with your kids, especially if they're younger. I always go to Common Sense Media just for you guys that don't know about that site, and it really goes through and tells you not only what the rating is for a movie, a TV show, a video game, anything like that, music even, but it also tells you parent reviews and children reviews of what age groups they think is appropriate, because a lot of times things just say PG or they say MA, mature, and you don't know exactly what they're describing, like if it's, you know, something that has just bad behaviors in it, or if it's language related. And Common Sense Media really gives you a good synopsis of what you can expect in a show like that, which is why I haven't really watched Stranger Things yet with my kids, because it seemed like there were some things in there that maybe weren't appropriate. My husband and I tried to preview the first episode, and I was like, my goodness, the kids were like cursing stuff so badly, and I was like, wow, cursing is one thing, but when it's the children cursing, I'm just like, ooh, that might not be the best. So I'm still considering it. Probably would need to watch a little more, but a lot of people rave about Stranger Things. You guys let me know in the comments if you've seen it and would you recommend it. I have an 11-year-old and a 15-year-old, so of course for the 15-year-old it's probably fine. But it's more my concern for my 5th grader. But all her friends have seen it, and so I'm interested, like, for you guys, my subscribers, what do you think? Have you seen it, and would you recommend it? Or are there just certain things I need to fast forward through? Leave me a note in the comments if you've seen it, or what do you think about that? What else on Netflix? Oh, Lost in Space. So I used to love Lost in Space, like the old-timey Lost in Space that was in black and white. It would come on one of those, like, you know, channels that played old shows when I was younger, and I got into watching it, and I don't know why, I just love that show. There was another show similar to that that was something about space and dinosaurs and slee stacks. I remember that, but I don't remember the name. If you know the name, let me know the name of that show down below too. But maybe Land of the Lost, I'm not sure. But anyway, I love Lost in Space, the original, and they had a new Lost in Space that came out last year. And so I didn't think it was going to be good. The kids thought it was going to be so cheesy, and we really got into it. Now there's some heavy material in there because there's a very nefarious character in there that's awful, and so you have to deal with that, and just, but it gives a lot of opportunity. We pause a lot when we watch shows with our kids to explain things, but it gives a lot of opportunity to really discuss things with your kids and know how to use your intuition to kind of pick up on, something seems off about this person. You know, when you're watching a show and you're going, oh my gosh, can't you see everything, all the red flags that are telling you this is a bad person? So it gives us chances to show that kind of thing to our children. And then season 2 just dropped in December, and so that was another one we watched the whole series like over about 3 days, and we really enjoyed it. A lot of the science in it is really good, and we are a science and history and travel loving family, so we watch lots of shows like that. If you're looking for stuff to just watch on regular TV, we really love watching Expedition Unknown with Josh Gates with our kids. And he goes all over the world. Mostly it's just the history and the archaeology and the different myths and legends from across the earth. Very interesting. We love that show. He's kind of like a modern day Indiana Jones. So if you like Indiana Jones, you probably would love his show. And he's really funny. We watch a lot of adventure type shows and travel shows, but he makes the show because he's just so funny. Also, we really enjoy Ancient Aliens, which is on the History Channel. And that show really goes into the history of different religions throughout the earth. It talks about a lot of science, a lot of space related items. Of course, it covers like alien type stuff like UFOs or Roswell and all those types of things. Which brings me to another show we love on the History Channel called Project Blue Book, which if you haven't heard of Project Blue Book, it is the actual true life story of a person that was working with the U.S. Air Force. There was a team, and they were called Project Blue Book, and they investigated all of these alien sightings and happenings that were going on in the 50s. And I love 50s style shows anyway, so that's one of the reasons I wanted to start watching it. But it's such a good show. We really enjoy watching that with the kids. And it's interesting because my husband's Air Force. So if you don't understand about classified material becomes declassified after so many years. Sometimes it's 60 years, sometimes it gets reclassified. Well, the reason they have all these shows coming out now about all these UFO encounters and things that have happened are because a lot of our classified documents are now unclassified, and we have access to that information as the public. And so they actually took this man, it was Dr. Alan Hynek, I think was his name, who had done all this information for the Air Force and gathered it and investigated. And it's actually his records the show is about, which makes it a lot more interesting because it's actually based on actual occurrences. Two of our other favorite shows that we've been watching on regular TV are Manifest, which is a really interesting show. It kind of reminds me of Lost. If you know the show Lost, it just has that type of feel to it. And we've really been enjoying that. And then also New Amsterdam, which is like Grey's Anatomy, but 1,000,000 times better in my perspective. We love New Amsterdam, and the main theme of that show for the guy that's running the hospital is how can I help? Which is just such a beautiful thing in today's world by itself. And for adult shows, I love Outlander, of course. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know we did our own Outlander type tour through Scotland that I put together, and we ended up meeting the cast there, which was an amazing experience. Just by happenstance, we're like wandering in the woods and there they are. It was crazy. But anyway, I love Outlander, so we're enjoying season 5 of that, and that's on Starz right now, which they have a lot of promotions going on. According to where you are in the country for the US, a lot of things are free. I heard somebody telling me they got Starz for $5 for 6 months or something. Somebody else mentioned they got it for free. Right now we got Showtime and Epix for free with our cable. I got an email saying they were just giving it out for free during the coronavirus to try to, you know, just do something nice for the community. So on Showtime we watch Shameless. We've been watching that for years and years, and that is definitely not appropriate for children, so I would not recommend that for kids. And it's a lot to handle, like the craziness of it all, but it's pretty fun. Anyway, you guys let me know what you're watching. Let me know if you're watching any of these shows that I just mentioned, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.